critical appreciation of a prayer for my daughter to be continued. We were talking about the imagery. Now, it emanates from an old bellows exchanged for the horn of plenty by a member of the class of opinionated idealists whose destiny is to climb upon wagonettes to scream. According to Unterrecher, Yeats focuses his poem on two images: the rich horn of plenty, which he associates with courtesy, aristocracy, and ceremony, and the hidden laurel tree, which rooted in one dear perpetual place can provide through custom a radical innocence for the soul. A mention of beauty gives rise to the images of Helen and Paris, their union, and the union of Venus and Hephaestus bring to our mind the union of Maud and Macbride. Now, if we talk of the metrical form of the poem, the meter of the poem is iambus. Most of the verses are in iambic pentameters with an extra syllable at the end of a line here and there. But in some stanzas, some verses are also iambic trimeters and tetrameters. For instance, the following verses of the second stanza are iambic trimeters, each with one extra syllable. Let's see that the future years had come, dancing to the frenzied drum. But the following verse of the fourth stanza is an iambic tetrameter, a crazy salad with their meat. Now, if we move on to the fifth stanza, form and rhyme, the poem consists of 80 lines. They have been divided into 10 stanzas of 8 lines each. The first 4 verses of each stanza make up 2 rhymed couplets. But among the last 4 lines of each, the first verse rhymes with the fourth, the second with the third. Now, listen carefully. My mind, because the minds that I have loved, the sort of beauty that I have approved. They are rhyming, so they are both A's. Proper but little, but has dried up of late, yet knows that to be choked with hate. Again, these 2 lines are rhyming, so let's name them B. May well be of all evil chances chief. Now, if there's no hatred in a mind, assault and battery of the wind. Now, these 2 lines are rhyming, but the above line isn't. So that will be named C, and the next 2 lines will be named D. Can never tear the linnet from the leaf. Now, this is rhyming with chief. Leaf is rhyming with chief. So this is again a C. Diction and style. When we talk of the diction of the poem, it is simple, urban, and literary. But polysyllabic words have been employed freely so that the lyric has become an elaborate one. They have also made the stanzas heavier than those of a fluid lyric. Words like intellectual hatred, opinionated, considering, magnanimities, accustomed, and ceremonies dull the verses to the tune of prosaic and flat lines. The style of the poem is modern with an undercurrent of the romanticism. Let's go on to talk about Stephen Spender's criticism of the poem. Some critics say that the poem is based on triviality, for the poet has not laid down or desired for his daughter a way of life consistent with the highest religious or moral ideals. He has not prayed for any Christian virtues for her. Stephen Spender writes, reverent as he is, he does not convey any religion. Instead, we are offered an aristocratic faith. However, such criticism is not very correct. The poet does desire for his daughter organic innocence and freedom from hatred. The ideals which he upholds are practical ideals, and these can be easily translated into practice and a state of grace attained He has laid down a way of life based on high moral virtues. Now, to conclude, we can say that Mr. Jeffers points that the poem has wonderful flexibility. This poem shows the flexibility he was achieving. It can move through description of the place we are beginning to recognize, the tower. It can freely describe the poet's mood of gloom and then move to the idea of beauty in women, from there to symbols of love, etc. The poet has modified his views where his hopes for his daughter's life are concerned. He puts out of his mind, as R.P. Blackmore says, his magical philosophy, all the struggle and warfare of the intellect in order to imagine his daughter living in innocence and beauty, custom and ceremony. Considering that all hatred driven hence, the soul recovers radical innocence, and every windy quarter howl or every bellow burst be happy still.